The termination letter slipped from his trembling fingers and fluttered onto the marble floor like a dead leaf. And in that moment, Marcus Reed realized that everything he had left in the world had just been taken from him. He stood in the glass tower's lobby while the security guard avoided his eyes. The elevators chimed indifferently, and the city outside the massive windows kept moving as if nothing at all had happened. His chest burned, his throat closed. In the reflection of the glass, he barely recognized himself anymore. 38 years old, shoulders sagging, tie crooked, eyes hollow from years of holding himself together with nothing but hope and exhaustion. He had just been fired. Not for incompetence, not for dishonesty, but for taking the blame for a mistake he didn't make, because someone else's career would have ended, and he couldn't allow that to happen. Before this story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet courage of people who carry the world on their shoulders, please take a moment to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to this channel. Stories like this matter, and your support keeps them alive. Marcus stepped into the afternoon rain without an umbrella, letting the cold drops soak his suit, as though the storm could wash away the shame burning through him. Every step toward the bus stop felt heavier than the last, because every step was carrying him closer to the conversation he had been dreading since the moment he'd become a father. The moment he would have to look his daughter in the eyes and tell her he didn't know how he would keep their world standing anymore. 3 years earlier, his wife's heart had failed without warning, leaving Marcus holding a newborn and a 5-year-old in a hospital hallway that smelled of antiseptic and grief. From that day forward, he learned how to function on 4 hours of sleep, how to braid hair with one hand while holding a coffee mug in the other, how to stretch every dollar until it nearly snapped. He rose before dawn to pack lunches and returned long after sunset, and in between he worked himself thin as a mid-level project manager at Sterling and Lowe Industries, the company that now decided he was disposable. The mistake that cost him his job was a misreported shipment valuation, something a junior associate named Tyler had done while rushing to meet a deadline. Marcus had caught the error, fixed the numbers, and sent the correction, but the original file had already triggered an internal audit. When the executives demanded to know who approved the initial report, Tyler's face went white. He had a sick mother, massive student debt, and a future hanging by threads. Marcus, who already knew how cruel life could be, had quietly stepped forward and said it was his responsibility. He did not expect mercy. He never had in his life. But he also didn't expect the weight of it to feel so final. The bus ride home blurred past him. Rain streaked the windows while the skyline dissolved into gray shadows, and Marcus stared at his reflection in the glass as if he were looking at a stranger's ruin. His phone buzzed with a message from the school reminding parents about the upcoming science fair, and that simple notification nearly broke him. How would he pay for groceries, for electricity, for the rent, for the asthma medication his youngest needed every month? When he unlocked the apartment door, the smell of burnt toast and the sound of giggling rushed toward him. His daughter Lily came running with marker-stained hands and a crooked paper crown on her head, while little Noah toddled behind her clutching a toy dinosaur. Marcus knelt and hugged them both, breathing them in, clinging to their warmth as if it were oxygen. He didn't tell them the truth that night. He smiled. He made spaghetti from the last of the pantry supplies. He helped with homework and read bedtime stories, and when they finally slept, he sat on the edge of the couch staring at the wall until dawn, calculating impossible numbers over and over again in his mind. Days followed that were built of job, applications, rejection emails, sleepless nights, and quiet panic. His savings vanished quickly. The landlord's polite reminders turned into warning notices. Marcus sold his wedding ring, then his watch, then the old guitar he had promised himself he would teach Lily to play one day. Pride had no place in survival. The lowest moment came one afternoon when he stood in a grocery store aisle, counting coins while a line formed behind him, his face burning as the cashier patiently waited for him to come up short. He placed back the milk, the apples, the bread. That night he told his children it was pancake dinner and pretended it was fun. Weeks passed. His shoulders curved inward as if the world were physically pressing him down. Every interview ended with "we'll let you know." The future became a fog he couldn't see through. Then, one morning, his phone rang with a number he recognized instantly. Sterling and low. He almost didn't answer. Shame flooded him, but something made him lift the phone. They asked him to come in. He put on his only remaining suit, the one that now hung loose on his frame, and rode the bus back to the glass tower that had swallowed him before. As he stepped into the lobby again, memories of that awful afternoon washed over him. The same marble floor, the same indifferent elevators. But this time, instead of a security guard escorting him out, a receptionist politely told him that the CEO wanted to see him personally. Marcus's heart pounded as H.E. rode the elevator upward. The doors opened onto the executive floor, where sunlight spilled across polished wood and towering windows revealed the city in all its restless motion. He was led into a massive office, where Elizabeth Sterling, the company's legendary CEO, stood looking out at the skyline. She was known across the industry for her sharp mind and relentless standards. No one spoke of her as warm. No one spoke of her as forgiving. She turned slowly when Marcus entered. Her eyes studied him, not with judgment, but with something else he couldn't name. She told him she had personally reviewed the incident that led to his dismissal. She told him she had discovered the original report, the corrected version, the timestamps, and the silence that followed. She told him she knew the truth. Marcus felt his knees weaken. Then she did something he would never forget. She walked around the desk, stood in front of him, and spoke softly. "Come with me." She led him out of the office, down a hallway he had never walked, into a private conference room overlooking the river. They sat. The city stretched endlessly below them. Elizabeth Sterling told him that in 30 years of leadership, she had seen countless talented people, but almost none willing to sacrifice their future for someone else's. She said that what he had done revealed more about his character than any resume ever could. Then she slid a folder across the table. Inside was a new employment contract, not his old job, a better one, director of operations, with a salary that made his breath catch, benefits that covered his children, flexible hours, and the ability to work remotely whenever necessary. She told him the company needed leaders like him, people who protected others even when it cost them. Marcus's hands shook as he signed. When he left the building that day, the sky was bright. The city felt different. The weight on his chest was finally lifting. The following months were a transformation. Marcus moved his family into a small but sunlit house near a park. Lily joined a music club. Noah's medicine was always on the counter, paid for without fear. Marcus worked harder than ever, but now he did it with purpose instead of panic. One evening, as he tucked his children into bed, Lily whispered that she was proud of him. The words hit him harder than any boardroom victory ever could. And standing there in the quiet hallway of his home, Marcus finally understood that sometimes the darkest endings are simply the doorways to the life you were always meant to live. Before this story ends, I want to ask you something from the heart. If this journey moved you, if Marcus's struggle and courage reminded you of someone you love or of yourself, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this deserve to be carried forward. And one special request before we close, please comment the word hope below if you believe that even the hardest chapters can still lead to beautiful endings. Because somewhere tonight, a single parent is lying awake, terrified of tomorrow, and your engagement on this story might be the reminder they need that they are not alone, and that miracles still happen, often in the quietest ways. The end.